Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're doing okay. Gonna read through this full article pretty much. There's a link in the description. It is pretty grim. It's about this absolute scumbag here. His name is Austin Mele. He's a 23-year-old. He was already in jail for abusing his 15-month-old son on a 10-year sentence, if I understand correctly. He was already in jail, and then he had some telephone conversations recorded, and on those conversations he had admitted to suffocating his 6-week-old baby, suffocating the 6-week-old to death. So that's what we're going to be looking at, and at the end of this we're going to hope that this guy gets an incredibly long sentence. It's stated here that he's facing a maximum sentence of 30 years, which to me is not enough, especially if there's parole included within that. But let's have a look at the details. A 23-year-old New Jersey scumbag already serving a decade in prison for abusing his 15-month-old son has admitted to killing his 6-week-old baby girl in a fit of rage. Austin Mele on Thursday formally pleaded guilty to 1 count of first-degree aggravated manslaughter in the baby's death. According to a press release, Mele, the scumbag, is facing a maximum sentence of 30 years in a New Jersey state prison. The state already declared its intent to recommend that Mele's sentence run consecutive with the 10-year sentence he is currently serving for second-degree aggravated assault, child endangerment, and tampering with physical evidence in connection with the abuse of his son. So I'm just going to interject at this point and just reiterate what I said a moment ago. That's not good enough, New Jersey. Why only 30 years for murdering his 6-week-old daughter, which he admits to? That's not enough. And then you want to count his 10 years that he's already serving. So it's going to be less than 30 years. That's not enough. That's not good enough. The sentencing, in my opinion, should be a lot stricter. First off, why isn't it automatic life? He's admitted to killing his 6-week-old. And his 15-month-old son, he also subjected to, I'll say torture, but certainly aggravated assault and child endangerment. So why are you giving this guy too much of a pass? He should get a much longer jail sentence, in my opinion. So let's go back to the articles. Officers with the Wall Township Police Department on March the 9th, 2019 responded to a call about an unresponsive infant. The name of that child is referred to as GB. Upon arriving on the scene, first responders found that the child was not breathing and immediately rushed her to the Ocean Medical Center in Brick, New Jersey. Authorities said she was in the immediate care of her father at the time she was found unresponsive. Doctors attempted to resuscitate the baby, but she was pronounced dead shortly after arriving at the facility. An initial autopsy was performed, and the medical examiner listed the baby girl's cause of death as a pulmonary edema, which is excess fluid in the lungs. The manner of death was listed as undetermined, and no arrests were made. So no arrests were made immediately after the death of this scumbag's 6-week-old baby girl. Investigators began to re-examine the case after the baby girl's mother provided police with critical evidence implicating the scumbag. The infant's mother secretly recorded telephone conversations with the scumbag following their daughter's death. In those calls, the scumbag admitted that on March the 9th, 2019, he suffocated the baby girl twice. The baby girl did not wake up after the second time. The child's mother then reported the scumbag's confession to detectives. The recording of the scumbag's confessions were provided to the medical examiner, who re-examined the baby girl's case and concluded that the manner of death was a homicide and the cause of death was smothering. Here's a quote. Here's a quote. The state was able to obtain copies of those recordings during which the defendant does admit to suffocating the baby girl until she was dazed. He then gave her a bottle which she threw up all over him. He then got angry and did it again, and she passed out. The baby girl never woke up again. And that's a quote from the judge in the Scumbag's 2020 detention hearing, if I understand correctly. So the Scumbag's sentence for the baby girl's death is subject to the state's No Early Release Act, which requires that he serve at least 85% of his sentence before he is eligible for parole. His attorney did not immediately respond, asking about the sentencing. The Scumbag is currently serving 10-year sentence in Southwood State Prison in Bridgeton. So there we go. There's the full article. He's been found guilty of murdering his 6-week-old baby girl, suffocating her more than once, and on the second time she died. The death wasn't immediately recognized as being a murder, a homicide, but it was really because of the forethought of the mother to record conversations with this scumbag, in which this murderous scumbag, admitted to having suffocated his own baby girl twice and killed her. And why? Well, because he was angry, because the baby was crying. You know, I'm reading several articles like this where I'll say young father, a father in their early 20s, is murdering their own child because they're getting angry when the baby cries. I mean, what the hell? I've never had children. I'm sure having a crying baby is, you know, testing. I would imagine that it is. But that's what you've signed up for, buddy. I'm not going to call you buddy. That's what you've signed up for. As a father, as a parent, as a mother, your child is going to need your attention, constant attention, for the first several years of their life. That's what you've signed up for. You know, you have a moral obligation to look after that child. And not only have you failed in that regard, but you've resorted to murdering them, you absolute evil scumbag. Again, I'm going to repeat myself. But actually, before I do, this isn't the first time he's done this. He's already serving a decade in prison for abusing his 15-month-old son. We don't have details in regards to that, but he's already a known scumbag. What was the mother doing with this guy? The mother shouldn't have been with him. I mean, that's one thing to say, but another thing to say is New Jersey. I'm not impressed. You know, have a look at your laws. 30 years isn't enough. He's going to get eligible for parole after serving 85% of a 30-year sentence, if he is given the maximum 30 years. So that is, you know, about 25 years sentence. I don't know. To me, I would just go for life. I would go for the death penalty. New Jersey, I am not impressed with your sentencing in this regard. Let's hope he does get the maximum.